All right, we are in Mindset Week. Here's the idea for the day. I want you to think about a thermostat, and a thermostat being attached to your central AC and heating unit, right? And we all know how this works. If you set your thermostat on 72, then if it gets warmer in your room, say it gets up to 73, 74, 75, the AC comes on, cools it back down, brings the room back down to 72. If the room gets too cold, goes down to say 65, then the heating comes on and raises the temperature of the room and brings it back up to 72. Your AC unit is designed, the thermostat is designed to keep your room close to the temperature that you have set it on. Let's imagine that your mindset works the exact same way. Based upon what your mindset is on, 72, it then controls the system. The system is your perspective, your understanding, what you notice, how you feel, what actions you take, all your emotions, all of that stuff. All of those stuff then are activated for you to do things to make that number come back down to what your mind is set on, right? That homeostasis, that temperature that you've set on. So if there are things that are happening in your life that are outside of your mindset, you will bring them back into what your mindset says they should be. And that's on both good things and bad things. Some people have a mindset that pulls them back out of things that seem to be going bad into things that are great. Other people have things that pull them out of things that could be good or great back into things that are not as good, not as great, right? But just like the example of the thermostat, the temperature of the room has little to do with the actual temperature of the environment, right? It's a result of what the thermostat is set on. So with that as a metaphor and example and guidance, the operative question becomes, well, what if we want to play this game? Well, what is your mind set on? That's question number one. What is your mind set on? And insights into what your mind is set on would be in idle times during the day or non-idle times, like what types of things dominate your thinking throughout the course of the day. When you're not focused on something, like actively engaged in something, when you're just sitting around, driving, talking, watching TV, whatever, your random thoughts, what type of things do they settle on? The quick analysis is, do the things that they settle on make you feel good, bad, angry, sad, indifferent? That's a high level filter, but it's a powerful one. Might be surprising to many if they can pull that off and be honest with themselves. The other thing that gives us insight into what our mind is set on is, what are your expectations? What do they look like? How do you expect things to go today? How do you expect that project or that deal or that thing to go? How do you expect your relationship to go? What do you expect is going to happen for you related to anything in your life? What are your expectations? Because your expectations come from what your mind is set on. And all of these things are tied together because those expectations are completely married to what dominates your thinking for the most of the day. So if you can become more aware of what default setting your thoughts are on and what default setting your feelings are, even if you super high filter them as good or bad, feel good or feel bad, then that's useful information. Because just like in the analogy, the circumstances are not as relevant to how you feel as you might think they are, right? It could be, if you set your thermostat at 95 degrees in the summer, then all day long, you're walking around inside of your house, burning up, uncomfortable, miserable, mad. But the reason why you're hot is not because it's 90 degrees outside, it's because you've set your thermostat at 90 degrees. In that same house, in that same hot summer, if you turn that thermostat all the way down to 40 degrees, you're walking around inside of that room cold and shivering and uncomfortable. But that has nothing to do with the actual temperature outside either. It just has to do with what you set your thermostat on. You might be oddly amazed and surprised as how much of the things that affect us in our reality are directly relation to what we have our mind set on. So be aware, try to understand what your mind is set on, and if you need to, change it.